A roundup of the latest news now. Here are our top stories. US and UK pornography go head to head. We'll have directors in the studio from both sides of the Atlantic to compare styles and storylines. The UAE national anthem revised following the peace agreement with Israel. We'll be speaking to a spokesman from the UAE Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And Prince Harry and Meghan sign a £112 million deal with internet broadcaster Netflix, using the proceeds to pay off part of a debt to the UK taxpayer. More on those top stories to come. First, to my special guests, both pornographic film directors, Ivor Hardon from the UK and Steve Sakimov from the US. Thank you very much indeed for joining me. Prior to the show, we asked you both to come up with a brief script of no more than 5 lines for the conventional pornographic storyline of a plumber attending a house call prior to any sexual intercourse taking place. Our actors are going to perform both scripts. Let's start with yours, Steve. So this script comes with a US spin. Can I help you? Hey there, ma'am. I just came by to fix your sink. Oh, yeah. Come on in. I could sure do with your pipe plugging that hole. At your service, ma'am. I like to get stuck in right away. Oh. And now over to Ivor's. So this is the UK version. Hello there, sorry to bother you. Just carrying out a plumbing survey of the area. There have been a few leaks here and there and we're just doing some routine house checks. Do you mind if I take a look at the plumbing under your sink? Oh, what's happened? Well, you see, we're trying to isolate the cause of the leak and we've been checking the water mains. Everything seems to be all right there. I've been filling holes in pipes up and down your street and just checking my notes. Yep, I don't think we've done your place yet. I see. Is this going to cost me anything? Oh, no, madam, it's all free of charge. In fact, you'd be doing me a favour. Right. So, what's in this for me? Well, I guess I'll have to show you, won't I? And that is the buzzer signalling that you'd exceeded the 5 lines of script, Ivor. So, let's compare scripts and ask you what you each think of each other's. Let's start with you, Steve. What did you think of Ivor's? Well, I mean, I don't know why you spend so long talking. Ultimately, the porn consumer just cares about the sex and the climax. So there's no point dwelling on the conversation. Nothing personal, but it just seems a little dumb to me, Bob. Okay. Ivor, how do you respond to that? And what are your thoughts on Steve's script? Well, Bob, I think you've got to recognise the cultural differences, right? I mean, the Yanks don't really do subtlety, do they? They just want to go right ahead, stick it in, no chit-chat, no mystery. We're just not like that here. We like a bit of build-up, a bit of innuendo. Do you know what I mean? Quick final thoughts from both of you. Steve? Well, do your roundabout indirect approach and let's see how far that gets you. Ivor? Yeah, we're just a different breed, innit? We're just a bit more cerebral. Gentlemen, thank you. The UAE has updated its national anthem following the peace agreement it recently signed with Israel. With me to discuss the change is UAE Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesman Abdullah bin Salim Al Mansouri. Mr. Al Mansouri, welcome. Tell us about the change.
Hello, Bob. You see, for us in UAE, it is a new dawn after we signed the peace agreement with the Israel. So for us, we think it is important to celebrate this development by reflecting this great achievement in our national anthem.
Now, before we hear the UAE national anthem both before and after the change, tell us about what concessions you've secured from Israel by signing this peace deal.
Yes, Bob, we secured the fact that Israel will not annex the West Bank. This, for us and for the Palestinians, is a huge gain. What about the fact that Israel already occupies, according to Israeli NGO B'Tselem, 42% of the West Bank, with settlements and accompanying land that are illegal under international law and continue to expand, remains in full control of movement around and into and out of the West Bank, and has built a 340-kilometre separation barrier in the West Bank proper, which cuts Palestinians off from their land. In short, hasn't that annexation effectively already taken place? Bob, this is a very complicated situation, maybe too much to cover in one discussion. Okay, let's just have a listen to the UAE national anthem prior to the latest change. And this is the version following the peace agreement with Israel. Abdullah Al-Mansouri, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Bob.
The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have signed a £112 million partnership with internet-based US broadcaster Netflix. The pair, who have never produced a television programme, will make documentaries, films and children's programmes as part of the agreement. Joining us from Westminster is our entertainment correspondent, David Brown. David, what sort of programmes can we expect this partnership to produce?
Hello, Bob. According to some inside information we've received, anticipated titles include The Sussexes, a family-oriented reality TV show about the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's home life, modelled on the Kardashians. There's also The Curse of Uncle Andy, a crime thriller inspired by Prince Andrew. There's Big Brother Royal Edition, a documentary offering an in-depth insight into the life of Prince Harry's turbulent relationship with Prince William. And Royal Black, a confessional biopic about Meghan Markle's experience as the first black member of the royal family. We understand that Prince Harry will be using the proceeds to pay for the Frogmore Cottage renovation, which he funded using taxpayers' money. Is that correct? That's right, Bob. Harry will be paying HMRC the £2.4 million it cost him to renovate Frogmore Cottage near Windsor Castle. Taxpayer financial support to the royal family is at an all-time high. The latest annual sovereign grant, that's the taxpayers' contribution to the royal family, was £82.4 million for 2019 to 2020. How much does the cottage renovation cost represent as a proportion of the overall sovereign grant?
Just got my calculator out. Frogmore Cottage represents about 2.9% of the annual sovereign grant. If you club that over 25 years, which is, say, your average mortgage term, you're talking 0.1%, Bob.
David, thank you.